So I've got an article here from The Nation. It's a website. Some people say it's a newspaper. I'm not sure about that. And it's about the New York Times strike. You may have heard this. There's a strike going on at the New York Times. A one-day strike. My opinion, one-day strike? Okay, but, it's got to start somewhere. And I want to read this article. We are freelancers, but we're striking in solidarity with the New York Times employees. The resurgence of American labor organizing has relied on solidarity beyond the bargaining unit, and that's what we are offering. So this is a group of freelancers that are, using their position to engage in solidarity. Today, more than 1,100 unionized newsroom employees at the New York Times will walk out, refusing to work for an entire day. For the past 20 months, they've been bargaining with management over basic issues like keeping wage increases in line with inflation and maintaining employee pensions. These workers deserve a fair contract. As freelancers for the New York Times and organizers with Freelance Solidarity Project, the digital media division of the National Writers Union, more than 600 members strong, we and dozens of our fellow freelancers will be joining the one-day walkout in solidarity. Now, again, one-day walkout? I don't know. Hey, gotta start somewhere. I hope they do more. To some, this may seem counterintuitive. After all, freelancers aren't full-time employees, and we aren't members of the New York Times Guild, the union representing the workers walking off the job, but we stand with our media colleagues who are fighting for what they're owed. The resurgence of American labor organizing has relied on solidarity beyond the bargaining unit in the same way that the Teamsters delivery workers have refused to cross the UAW 2865 picket line of 48,000 academic workers at the University of California and full-time faculty at the New School have stopped teaching classes in solidarity with their almost 1,800 striking part-time colleagues. We refuse to help the New York Times continue business as usual. So again, what happens when people go on strike is they try to get scab workers, people that are like, oh yeah, I'll go in there for a part-time gig for a couple weeks. And what is the biggest and largest pool of scab workers you could get? Freelancers that you're not even, they're not part of a union. You just, you send them a whatever, like a one-time payment or a one-time contract per story, right? But in this instance, these people are saying, no, fuck you, New York Times, which is good. It's crucial now more than ever that freelancers refuse to be used as scab labor, serving as replacements when staff employees go on strike. The pitifully low rates offered to freelancers exist in part because media work overall has been so devalued. This also goes for the work of staffers at publications like The Times, which is among the few financially stable and profitable media companies, raking in $51 million in profit in the most recent quarter. Even after recently acquiring The Athletic, employees are seeking their fair share of the profits they've helped create. But bosses know they can easily supplant staff work with inexpensive freelance labor if we let them. The only way to improve working conditions for some of us is to improve working conditions for all of us. If we don't, the media will continue to consolidate and shrivel into a legacy industry populated solely by those with generational wealth needed to live in expensive cities on low salaries. So again, you can read the rest of this. But the New York Times strike, again, it's important. I don't care. A lot of people, they love to do this like, this strike is bad, this strike is good bullshit. Like, oh, the Netflix strike, bad, because Netflix workers are woke. The New York Times strike, bad, because the workers are woke. Whatever. That shit is fucking dumb. I don't care what the reason is. I don't care if the reason is fucking stupid, okay? Go on strike. Do it. Show the boss who's boss. It's important, right? We shouldn't even have hierarchical systems in government. We shouldn't have hierarchical systems in business. The idea that someone can make 200 times the salary of the people that actually are the entire reason why they even have money in the first place. Like, is anyone reading the New York Times because like the CEO is like such a special guy or whatever? No. Is anyone reading the New York Times because the editorial board is so incredible and or like, you know, is anyone reading the New York Times because the investors in the company are just so great? No. They're reading the New York Times because of the writers. Now again, I think the New York Times is a pretty garbage outlet. I'm not going to lie with you. I think the New York Times, overall, terrible piece of fucking shit outlet. Right? They've enabled war profiteering, bigotry, racism, transphobia, xenophobia. They've enabled all kinds of bigotry that you can think of, right? They've done anti-union propaganda for decades. But you know what? Now that they're on strike, this could be an opportunity. Maybe the New York Times will learn a lesson. Maybe some of the workers there will learn lessons that can be used to improve the quality of the newspaper. So again, obviously, big support, big solidarity with that. Wanted to mention that.